Welcome to a discussion of the 2016 test rules for match racing, adopted by World Sailing, which was formerly known as the International Sailing Federation, or ISAF. Our seminar today is being hosted by Oak Cliff Sailing, which is an elite training center with a heavy focus on match racing, located in Oyster Bay, New York, near New York City, on Long Island Sound. For more information on Oak Cliff, you can go to oakcliffsailing.org. Our seminar is being videotaped today for free worldwide viewing by Doug Shannon, an avid match racer and a professional in the film production industry. My name is Dave Perry, and I'll be leading the discussion today. I've done quite a bit of match racing, and my team and I are currently the U.S. national champion. I'm also fortunate to have been the rules advisor for Artemis Racing in the 34th America's Cup in San Francisco in 2013, where the rules that have become the test rules were first written and used. I want to make it clear that my presentation and opinions today are solely my personal opinions, though informed and educated by the authors of these rules and my personal experiences. Before we get into the test rules, I want to show you where you can find these test rules and all the supporting documents. We've created a web page for the test rules on the U.S. Sailing Match Racing web page. You can find the U.S. Sailing Match Racing web page by going to U.S. Sailing. You can Google it, or go to ussailing.org, then go to Racing, then go to Match Racing. The first link you'll find is to the test rules webpage we've set up. The next link will be to our free North American match racing e-newsletter called The Dial-Up. We try to send the Dial-Up monthly and include a master calendar of all regattas and clinics in North America, racing tips such as tactics to use when you're using the test rules, insights from umpires and race committees, and reports from previous events. You'll also find a link to read last year's 8 issues and a link to sign up to be on our mailing list. Please do so you can be informed on what's going on in North America. Also on the U.S. Sailing Match Racing website, you'll find information on how to get involved in match racing as a sailor, umpire, race committee, resources on tactics and strategies and how to be better at match racing, information on youth and women's match racing, and a free DVD called Welcome to Match Racing, which uses extensive video clips to explain how match racing works and what the tactics and strategies are in the pre-start, the upwind and downwind legs and marks, and the penalty killing system. Another great source of match racing information is the Northview website. You can find them by Googling Northview or going to northview.com and then all things match racing. There you'll find a listing of all the Northview clinics in North America. You'll find their match racing playbook, which is a comprehensive outline of all the tactics needed to be a successful match racer, and their CD, which has some video called Match Racing, which was written by America's Cup tactician John Cutler and America's Cup umpire Henry Menon. They go around the race course with John saying, well, here's what I'm thinking about as tactician, and then Henry saying, well, be careful because here's what we're thinking about as umpires. It's a very insightful and useful tool and gets you into the mindset of the umpires for match racing, which is so important. Going back to the 2016 Test Rules for Match Racing webpage that we've put on the U.S. Sailing site, you'll find the text of the test rules, the World Sailing briefing document, which includes a list of all the changes to the current call book based on the test rules, and some new test rules package calls. You'll find the World Sailing implementation document, which explains how you can implement the test rules at your events. You'll find the U.S. Sailing permission letter, which needs to be posted on the official notice board of events using the test rules, a sample notice of race, and then you'll find a PowerPoint that I put together which has about 30 scenarios highlighting the changes in the rules and how it changes the game. You'll also find a paper I wrote called A Different Game, which gets into the tactics for the sailors of what's different on the test rules, and then what different positions and things will the umpires need to be thinking about when using the test rules. These last 2 papers have been recently revised, and they're all posted for free worldwide use. Let me give you a bit of background on how these test rules came into being. The organizers of the 34th America's Cup in San Francisco in 2013 wanted to create a TV-friendly event which was spectacular to watch and simple to follow. One of their goals was to create a much simpler set of rules that would be easier to explain and understand to the TV audience and other spectators. They paid for permission from ISAF to rewrite the racing rules of sailing. Richard Slater, a member of the ISAF Match Racing Rules Committee and Rules Advisor for Oracle Team USA, created the first draft of the Racing Rules of Sailing America's Cup. The rules were refined and used in the 34th Cup with no issues. Meanwhile, there were discussions among match racing umpires and sailors around the world that the ISAF Racing Rules of Sailing were just too complicated, particularly at the windward mark, where the position and relationship between the boats can change dramatically in short periods of time. There was also quite a bit of discussion on how subjective the term proper course was, and the difficulty of getting the umpires and sailors on the same page when determining whether Rule 17, regarding proper course, was on or not so the game could be played properly. The World Match Racing Tour had been experimenting with some alternative rules for match racing. For instance, they had softened Rule 16 regarding changing course at the windward mark, and they had deleted Rule 17 when racing downwind, among other changes. In 2014, it was suggested to the ISAF Match Racing Committee that regular match racing try using some of the America's Cup rules to see if they resolved some of the complexity issues that were being discussed. A set of test rules was created in the fall of 2014, and match racing organizers around the world were asked to test these rules in 2015. Here in the US, the test was done in a series of regattas last spring in California, ranging from Grade 5 events up through the Congressional Cup. At the World Sailing Annual Meeting in China this fall, the World Sailing Rules Committee met to decide the changes for the 2017-2020 Racing Rules of Sailing. The World Sailing Match Racing Committee recommended that the 2015 test rules be adopted as the actual match racing rules in Appendix C of the 2017-2020 Racing Rules of Sailing, with some minor tweaks. The Rules Committee agreed and have officially adopted the test rules as the actual match racing rules beginning on January 1st, 2017. Given that these will be the rules in 2017, the World Sailing Match Racing Committee is asking all events worldwide to use these rules in 2016. They still need to be called test rules this year because they are not the actual rules that are currently in the rule book. However, Rule 86.3 allows event organizers to test rules at any event if their national authority gives them permission to do so. In the US, US Sailing has given its blanket permission for organizers of match racing events to use the 2016 test rules. And the US Sailing Match Racing Committee is encouraging all event organizers to use these rules. It appears it will happen. For instance, the test rules will be used at all 3 US Sailing Match Racing Championships and their qualifiers this year. In order to put them into effect, the organizer must say that these rules apply in the Notice of Racing and Sailing Instructions, and post the permission letter from US Sailing on the official notice board of the event. Sample language for how to write this into the Notice of Race and Sailing Instructions is on the US Sailing Test Rules webpage. The chief umpire for the event can be helpful with this too. Now note, an event must use the complete package of test rules or none at all. It is not possible to pick some for use and not others. The goal is to have all match racers use the rules in 2016 that will be going into effect in 2017. Note also, though these rules have been adopted for 2017, the World Sailing Match Racing Rules Committee is still interested in hearing feedback from sailors, umpires, race officers, organizing authorities, and spectators. Feedback can be sent to the World Sailing Match Racing Rules Committee at competitions@isaf.com.